Hello Colorado Christian, Sarah here, and today I'm going to teach you how to pour the perfect cup of coffee. My husband is my audience today.
Hello.
In my last video, I went into a little depth about where coffee comes from, and how it grew in America, and just some different ways you could pour coffee. And my favorite way to pour coffee is out of a V60. It's definitely one, like I said, super simple to learn. I'm not that great of a barista, and this is really easy for me. And so first off, you need your supplies, and you always want to start out with filtered water, a kettle, and why don't you, if you are doing this, go ahead and turn your kettle on the stove. You need a V60 pour over, it's just a simple pour over, a base, a filter, a scale. You can use just any scale. This is a coffee scale, but there's kitchen scales, anything that weighs in grams, and coffee. And today I'm going to teach you exactly step by step how to pour a cup of coffee in a V60. So first off, my water is boiling, it's good to go. And so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna weigh out some coffee on the V60. And I always start my water first because you know it takes a minute to boil. And then you want to measure out your coffee. And today I'm using a Guatemala from Switchback Coffee Roasters here in Colorado Springs, and it's my absolute favorite coffee, and that's why I'm using it today. It's pre-ground. We do not have a grinder right now. Ours broke, and so we just get it ground. And my recipe today is 25 grams of coffee to 350 grams of water. And so let's go ahead and measure out the coffee. And it doesn't have to be right on the money, just somewhere. Ooh, that's a little much. That would be strong coffee. Okay, so I had 26 grams, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, while we're waiting on the coffee to boil, just a little bit why I love this coffee. I like cream in my coffee for one. I cannot drink it black. I'm not man enough. And so, there's not meant to offend anybody. And so Switchback Coffee Roasters is my favorite coffee roaster right now. It's right here in Colorado Springs with us. And this is a Guatemala. And if you look on the side, if say you go to a coffee roaster, they always usually have the notes of the coffee in it. And this one has dark chocolate, peanut butter, and graham crackers. And that's delicious. I love the Trader Joe's French vanilla fat-free, and they go so well together, and I drink about 2 cups of these a day. And so my coffee is all, just set it aside. You don't need it yet, believe it or not. You have a couple steps before that. Here, 1 second. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my water, make sure it's good and boiled. And you're gonna set up your coffee stand. The good thing about a pour over is that you can usually find a pour over system at places like Target. This one is a V60, it's from Hario, but you can find Target, World Market, Amazon. It doesn't have to be necessarily this. You can just get a base, a pour over, a beehive, anything generic will work. You can use a mug and a regular kitchen scale, and this is definitely like a coffee that anybody can make on a budget. I am using a homemade filter, but anywhere you can buy a pour over, you can buy a paper filter. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my water off and let it just sit for 1 second. I'm going to set my filter in. I'm going to do this demonstration if I had a paper filter, and we do not have any, but if I had a paper filter, I would go ahead, my water is boiled, ready to go. You would wet your filter just so you wouldn't get a paper taste or a filtery taste in your coffee. And so I just wet my filter, get it good and wet and ready for my grounds. And then you just pour out the excess water in the sink. So I have my coffee that we pre-ground. You want to go ahead and just pour it in there. And now you want to wet your grounds. And this is so that you get any gases out and that you can get a really good bloom on your coffee and just get the absolute best taste out of it. You do about 30 grams. Oop, I did a little more, but it's fine, it'll work. And you let that for about 25 seconds. And I have, my scale is really cool because I have grams, and then I have my timer right next to it. You're never gonna get a great cup of coffee unless you brew it yourself. And what I mean by brewing it yourself is not a Keurig where you just set it in, or a cup of coffee. You really are going to get the absolute best cup of coffee you've ever had before if you use this system. Okay, so we've been letting this sit for about 30 seconds, and we want to go ahead and just start pouring our coffee. And I just go around. And like I said, our recipe we're using today is 25 grams of coffee to 350 grams of water. You really want to watch that scale. You don't want to over pour, because then you're going to have a watery coffee and nobody likes it. Almost there. So 356, not bad, because I have a heavy hand. So we're gonna wait for that to just steep down and make our cup of coffee. I always have like an extra mug next to my setup to put my coffee grounds in, because I save them, and you can make like a body scrub out of them. You can make a whole bunch of things, and if you compost, you can just throw them right in there. There's no sense in wasting. Okay, so right now it's just brewing. And like I said, like if you've really, I'm sure you've seen this at like a coffee shop. I would say everybody's been to a coffee shop that, you know, local coffee shop. And this might look really hard for you to do, and it is so simple. This is the first thing I ever learned how to do. My husband taught me very graciously how to make this. So it's done. That's usually when I pull it off. Shake it a little bit and you set it in there. Then I have my mug. And that is how you make the perfect cup of coffee.